Welcome to another episode of The Beauty and the Bold. I'm Caitlin, the beauty, and this is Andrew,
the village idiot.
There it is.
Deese.
Sorry, Deese. I can't call him that.
Yeah.
Whatever y'all want to call him.
Yeah, call me what you want.
On this episode today, we are going to be talking about whether or not we think having multiple partners disqualifies you from being a high-value man or woman.
Okay, so just for the record, just to get it ironed out now, what is your opinion on this? So I know how to lead, make sure I go the right way on here.
For us, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not, it'll never approach that. It'll never be consensual.
And do you have like a science-based reason, or is it just feelings?
So, actually, no. All the research that I did before this basically pointed to people who are in a consensual, non-monogamous, which so like both parties are okay with being with other people, are actually satisfied and happy and don't have many problems. Now, when people are in a relationship and it's one-sided or non-monogamy, one person's committed to that person, the other person's committed to that person, and a bunch of other people. That is when you are the most dissatisfied, unhappy, all of that. It was basically saying that the people who are in a monogamous relationship and a consensual non-monogamous relationship are equally as happy and satisfied and have the same amount of happiness and problems as everyone else. Now, coming off of that, he is never allowed to even look at another woman. So I don't know what my opinion is on it, because I'm very much, if you want to live your life that way, live it. But my problem is with the people who say, well, I can go look at other people, date other people, to other people, but that my partner can't. That's where I'm like, no, see, we're not going to do that. That to me does not make you a high value man.
I suppose it has to do with what we define as a high value man. I don't necessarily define someone who's wealthy as a high value man. Not being the end all be all, just, hey, he's wealthy, he's got a bunch of money, that makes him a high value man. For me, what a high value man is someone who is intensely disciplined. That's a high value man to me. And when you divulge in pleasure, you disarm yourself against strife, against chaos, against problems, hardships. And for me, to be a high value man, you would have to be someone who's extremely disciplined. And fundamentally, I suppose having sex outside of procreation is all pleasure. If you're not doing it to make children, you're doing it to be pleasured. Like if you're watching porn, it's for pleasure. It's not for anything else. And I think that if you're not disciplined in your pleasures, then you are going to be a very anxious, depressed, and manic person. Now that is, I suppose, an opinion, but it works for me very well. So I'm very selfish, right? And I don't cheat on Caitlin or seek other partners for my own self-discipline and my own personal growth, because you don't get a lot of opportunities to become the best version of yourself. Usually you have your normal insecurities you have to overcome. Disciplining yourself in your daily routine, your daily habits, not having sex with multiple partners, and being honest and never lying, integrity. Those things are something that make you a high value man in my eyes. So that is what I pride myself in. So
do you think that you can live a pleasurable life? Is that a word?
Pleasurable?
Pleasurable?
Yeah.
Pleasureful.
Pleasureful. Okay.
Either or. Do you think you can live a pleasureful life and still be very disciplined?
Well, I get great pleasure in disciplining myself. So
that sounds kinky.
Yeah, But I don't want her to spank me in public.
Just not in public.
Not in private either.
I think to me, a high value man and or woman is just someone with character and sticks to that character. So if you are going to be a monogamous or not a monogamous person, I think you need to stick to that lifestyle, stick to your character of that. If you're going to say, hey, I'm going to be committed to one person and one person only, and then you go out and you don't do that, you decide to be, with other people, that would make you lose your value. But, you know, if you design yourself to be a non-monogamous person and say, I want to be able to have multiple partners, I want my partner to be okay with that, and you continue to live that life, then you're living up to your morals and your character. And that's a value to me.
I do think, though, if you are going to have multiple partners and you're going to lie about it, that is going to be even worse. So I guess if
that would make you lose some value.
Right. If you're going to be in a relationship, make sure you lay those foundation, those ground rules. Hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be honest with you up front, you know. And obviously, if that person agrees to it, they more than likely have some problems, or this is something that they participated in and they're used to it.
Some people just
they like it.
And it's fine. And they're not, my thing is like, how do you not get possessive and jealous? And then I started thinking about it. Well, is that just like an internal thing I haven't worked through? Mm-hmm. Because like, he's not like mine. I don't own him, but like he is at the same time.
What?
So
I'm a free man.
See, but you know what I mean? But like, he's like my husband. I couldn't imagine sharing you, but does that make me selfish?
I wouldn't share you.
But does that make me selfish
Yes.
and insecure?
It's an ego thing. Yeah, sure. But there's nothing wrong with that. Preserve the human spirit in any way possible, I suppose, which makes you different than everything else in the world.
I mean, but do you think as humans, we're meant to be monogamous, or are we meant to not be? Because if you look at it, freaking, you know, dogs will mate with anyone. And it doesn't matter who they mated with last.
I think as we grow in society and, you know, our social interaction as humans change and we develop and technology advances and science advances dramatically, things are going to change for what humans can and can't do, or should and shouldn't do. So I think that maybe that's something that comes down the road. But I do believe that, and being a high value man, the bigger the purpose, the bigger the selfless purpose, the more valuable you become. So from my experience, if you're chasing a purpose that's bigger than yourself, you don't really have the desire for other pleasure. I don't know if we've really explained the dopamine reward system. Maybe in a later episode we can talk about that. But when you pursue a goal that's larger than yourself without the expected results coming in your lifetime, or if you're ever going to achieve that goal at all, you get a really large dopamine hit from working. You know, as I say, life is the pursuit of happiness. And I think that my goals and aspirations are so large that the pleasure of multiple partners wouldn't fulfill me or give me anything worthwhile. So I'll just stick to my caffeine in the morning and then work really hard. And that's kind of what makes me satisfied. And I think it's a very healthy motivation and a healthy direction to move in. And I think that's part of the reason why Caitlin was attracted to me and what made me a high value man.
I do think there is a lot of value in being able to be committed to one person and one person only forever. And, you know, till death do us part. You see the couples who've been together for 50, 60 years, and that's all they've ever been with. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, is honorable. That is beautiful. Mm-hmm. But then, you know, you think about it, the people who are in open relationships, they are committed to each other, but they're also committed to other people. But did they come first, like, before everyone? I think it just depends on the standards of your relationship. But I don't think I can sit here and tell you that you're not valuable for being in a non-monogamous relationship just because it's not the life I live. But to me, for me to be valuable and to have high value for myself, I am only committed to him as my husband, the father of my children, my best friend. Like, it's him over anything else forever, and just him. And to me, that brings value to myself. And
I really want to teach my daughters that.
Yes.
So that they seek a man that's not someone with multiple partners. That's just personally what I want. It's not really that has to be that way.
I think it's only really toxic is when the man or the woman, I'm not going to say just man, says, well, I'm going to have other partners, but you can't. You're going to stay home and just deal with it.
Yeah.
I think that's when the value decreases.
That's kind of sexist.
Or when you just go behind your partner's back and cheat. Like, I've always wondered, like, what satisfaction do you get out of that? Like, what are you chasing instead of working it out with the person you have at home or just leaving?
It's undisciplined pleasure chase. It's someone who distracts themselves because they don't have a higher purpose. You distract yourself with pleasure.
So what do you got to do? You got to find a higher purpose?
Works for me. I think that, though, when we first got together, I think I told you I had dreams that I wasn't going to give up, right?
Yeah.
We had that conversation. And you were like, that's fine. You're okay with it.
I knew he was a weirdo from the get-go. So. From the beginning.
I was very open. I'm a very open person. I talk about everything and I lay it all out. And I've laid it all out so many times, and so many people looked at me like I was a joke, like I wasn't ever going to accomplish the things I did. And she was probably the first woman ever that looked at me dead in my eyes and believed every word that was coming out of my mouth. And that was it for me. That's all I needed to just get her pregnant.
You don't You don't need any other woman to tell you that?
No, I'm good. Just the one that was going to be the mother of my children. That's the only one that mattered.
What about the people who are in a relationship like us, but then they are been together for so many years? You're like, let's decide to be an open relationship. What do you think about that? Do you think that lessens the value of their relationship?
I don't know.
To me, maybe it's like we've lost our spark, let's find it back type of thing.
I just don't have time for that. Who has time for that? Like, what are you doing?
I mean, I have a hard time handling just you. I kind of handle multiple.
I'm that big?
Oh my God. No, you're just the right size. Just the perfect. Don't you love it when women say that to you?
Oh, I hate it. Someone said it to me last month. I couldn't believe it.
Excuse me? Hold on. Let's talk about this.
I was kidding. It was a joke. A little jokey joke.
Well, that jokey joke just brought less value to yourself. So how do you feel? I would think a whole lot less of you if you ever decided to have more partners than just me. I don't think I would ever look at you the same. So to me, that would decrease your value completely.
And I care what she thinks. I'm not going to do that to her.
And I think it would ruin my value too, to myself, knowing that the person that I committed myself to and had kids with decided to have other partners. It would definitely make me feel like I was not enough for you.
And her feelings matter. Because if she doesn't feel comfortable and secure in the relationship, it's going to trickle down into our children. And that is an unacceptable outcome for me. As a man of the head of the household, it is my duty to keep it together and keep everyone's mental stability in line and intact.
How do open relationships work if you have children?
They probably keep it private for a while. But I think if the children are older, maybe they'll understand better. I think
you just got to figure it out as you go. But I think as long as it's consensual and there's communication and you have boundaries, then
I say definitely make sure you got it all in order. You got your house in order. You got your mental right. And then if something you want to explore just because you want to try new things, you're like, hey, I don't want to do heroin. Maybe we'll try another person. I don't want to go do ecstasy at that rave when I'm 40. I just want to try maybe, signing up to a swingers Facebook group. Maybe that's something I get, I get it a little bit.
I was reading about this one a long time ago, and there was an open relationship, or not really open relationship. They had invited a woman, for a threesome, and the other girl got pregnant.
No
then
kids.
What do you do? So I think that's where it gets a little tricky. But that's where you gotta have boundaries. But then again, with boundaries brings value. For sure. If you have strong boundaries in it, that's valuable.
Yeah, for sure. Think. The old saying goes, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. So
yeah,
you got to have some type of wall, some type of boundary, some type of line in the sand to be a, man or woman of value, in my opinion. And you got to say, hey, I'm just not going to do that because this is my boundary. This is the soapbox I stand on, and this is what makes my character me.
So would you say yes or no that having multiple partners, it makes you less valuable?
I don't think it makes you less valuable. There's a certain place for every group of people in this world. And I think where I want to go in life, it's a valueless thing to do.
Yeah, definitely for us. Mm-hmm. It would be completely valueless.
Yeah.
It would actually destroy a lot of things.
Yeah, it would. And we're not going to do that.
I think even if we decided to be consensual about it, it would never be the same.
I would never agree to that.
Me neither.
Even if she's try to sway me into a threesome with another girl, I would just say no on the principle that I would lose my ability to be in control and tell her no about another man.
I would never want to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because I'm a control freak and she does what I say. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm in charge.
I'm in charge.
I will say that it does not. I will say no. Okay. It does not bring you any less value, depending on how you were doing it.
Yeah.
Now, if you're just a big narcissistic, manipulative, cheating liar, I think you're probably in the bottom barrel for your value. But if you guys, I've always admired, you know, people who just are able to communicate that. And I'm like, that's really cool. Could never be me, but that's awesome. Happy for you. So glad you get to do that. Like I was saying, most animals in the animal kingdom do not have a lifelong partner besides humans, but also they don't have the ability to develop a emotional connection like humans can, which you will never develop with anyone else.
Okay. I'll blink twice when it's, you know, time for me to be honest. Just kidding.
So basically what we're saying is we don't care how you live your life, just be honorable in how you live it.
Yep. Thank you guys.
Thank you for watching. Bye.